from my perspective, that at some point, since we're invoking so much of the past, and you seem to want to lead us down a road here of nostalgia and whatnot, at some point in 2006, 7, I was working heavily on APIs with a few of my friends there, we were there's a lot of internal teams at these companies. This was a big part of our thesis, was software that tries to be everything to everyone is software that no one ought to be using, or that is only being sold by doing, playing golf with a boss, because it's completely disconnected from the consequences of actually having to use it. This is the kind of thing we were really, really upset with, and we thought was gumming up the software industry, and we appreciated. So we wanted to build super high quality software that scales with everyone and these kind of things, right? So, however, of course, if you want to be everything, if you want every feature, or you want to be able to help people with their missions, you kind of have to build a lot of things. And we were let's build infrastructure instead of features, and because infrastructure is composable. Composability to software is essentially what is compound returns is to finance. So if you build great infrastructure and invite a community and of people who are just really, really close to the problems, then that would look better. There's internal teams and with the people we were talking to. But if you can allow the internal teams to go one step further, and instead of making a piece of software a one of one for one particular use case, but follow sort of the technological shape that Shopify took, shop IDs, and make it so that multiple people can use it, and we create the conventions, then I think we would follow our mission, which is really to create more entrepreneurship in the world. Even more closely, because of course these internal teams might actually sit on a real insight. They want something to exist for themselves. Why not make it really easy for them to share it and put this sort of terrible version, the first version of a directory up, and allow them to tell each other about it, right? So this is at some point this happened there, and then being in a room with such you're all such unbelievable, impressive builders and entrepreneurs yourself. Is incredibly gratifying, right? So yeah, we are standing and I love the way you put this. We are standing shoulder to shoulder. It's at the end of the two best things you can possibly build in the world that are durable are systems and systems of incentive specifically, right? So incentive you can build. Okay, one, systems of incentive, let's go with that. And so we are all standing shoulder to shoulder because all of us are doing the same thing. We are trying to help these incredible, impressive entrepreneurs who are doing this incredibly brave and courageous thing of putting themselves out there by building a store, a business, a system, usually in the face of, as you all know, significant amount of opposition. There's a lot of people who tell you shouldn't. They are doing their thing, and they want, the kinds of people who are motivated enough to reach for independence are people who also want to do it their way. And so finding points of distinction is so important. We are trying to do as much as we can with our template systems, but really at some point your business needs to be different, because putting a different skin on top of the same business is not a different business. You have distinction for your products, which we want you to spend all your time on. So we want to show up with as much supportive infrastructure as possible. We want to show up there that you get the software that it should just work, and for anything that's a real reach, where you're ambitious about it, or so you can use. We bring the infrastructure to you. You're taking the other side of this particular LA and converting it into something that's really perfect for what people are trying, and creating this point of distinction. And so I think this just works so beautifully. I think what's really then going on in the current times on top of this is that this is such a opportunity-rich space. And we were all so limited by the speed of really building software But now we can, this has been truly augmented. We all know it, we all feel it. We don't need to spend time continuing things. We can talk about shenanigans that the AI can do. We don't need to talk about its sort of relative merit anymore. With that, the opportunity plus tooling leads to an explosion of creativity. Again, we can give so much more distinction. We can give so much more variety. We can make the web so much more fun again. I'm sure you all saw Ben and Vanessa and team's work on kind of going back to the basics, like saying, hey, it's really, 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 really great. That browser. Let's actually celebrate it fully instead of wrapping it in JSON. And so, so there's from our perspective, we're let's go to the stuff that matters and build opportunity space and invite everyone over because our corner of the internet is a pretty good one.
Well, I also think what we end up doing together is we very much end up sort of increasing the surface area of entrepreneurship. Like if Shopify, continues to create what most merchants need most of the time to get 100% product market fit, that's where this community, lends a hand and jumps on board. Last night I was leaving. It was raining last evening. I was coming from this place back to Summit. And someone in this room pulled me aside. He's a partner of ours in BC, and he said he was jumping on a call with a hardware company, and the founder said, it's going to be me and my CTO. And so they get on the call. I don't know if you're in the room. If you are, please, thank you for this amazing story. But so this guy comes on the call, and he says, I need your help to help me build my Shopify store, and I want to introduce my CTO. CTO comes on the Zoom, and it was his 13-year-old son. True story, which is amazing.
Oh, I love it.
And the 13-year-old begins to start asking questions to this particular partner about the future of catalog and what we can do with it and what type of incredible, this is a tool company with a ton of different SKUs. I think one of the things that we've actually done together is we've talked about us being the guardians of the world's entrepreneurs. There's no way we can do it without this community. You guys help us create more of that around the world. I want to talk about specifically catalog because I do think though that does feel like, you talked about Web 2.0 and the beauty of it and the innovation there, and it's underappreciated. But you've also said that catalog kind of always should have existed potentially, and it didn't. Can you talk about catalog and why you are so excited by this thing?